Only Clutch here to say that I am not sorry. I put just over 40 hours into Returnal. I also completed Act 3 and got the super ultra ending instead of the generic one. But before I go any further, this video features gameplay of weapons and abilities that are only available later in the campaign. So if you are super sensitive about spoilers, I would go back and watch my cyberpunk dildo fighting video clip. I made a video right after Returnal was released, called Risk of Rain 2 is better than Returnal. I made this video without owning or ever having installed Returnal because I was A, so confident in Risk of Rain 2's value proposition, and B, that even if Returnal is an amazing game, there is no way it was worth a $70 price tag. Co-op and the ability to pause the game also factored into my argument for Risk of Rain 2. Well, I am happy to say that I was right, and anyone who disagrees with me owes me a huge apology and needs to Venmo me like 50 bucks. I do have to get one thing out of the way. At the time of publication of my Risk of Rain 2 vs. Returnal video, Housemarque had not included an ability to pause Returnal and come back to it. That feature has since been added into the game through the suspend cycle function, and this effectively allows you to pause and come back. Co-op, on the other hand, is still not present, but also doesn't fit in the narrative of Returnal, so I'm willing to concede that on both of those points, I was maybe off, but also maintain that I was definitely not wrong. The gameplay in Returnal was never in question. I did in fact state this in the previous video, that Returnal probably had amazing gameplay. And I was also right about this. When Returnal is clicking, it is an absolute masterpiece. But this is a great time to talk about Risk of Rain 2, because they are releasing a DLC soon, and you should buy Risk of Rain 2 if you haven't, and then buy the DLC, and then thank me later because you're gonna have an amazing time. Returnal offers a solid experience. It has a strong but dense narrative, and hey, those YouTube explainer channels need to make content too. It offers a gameplay loop that is equal parts frustrating and satisfying. And I actually think the roguelike label does Returnal a disservice, as it is more like a Soulsborne game with punishing bonfire checkpoints than it is a true roguelike. It does look stunning, and the sound design is some of the best that I have ever experienced. But get this game on sale. It is not worth a $70 US price tag, or the fact that you can only play it on a PS5, and ideally with the Sony proprietary headphones. I continue to stand by my statement that the $24.99 for Risk of Rain 2 will reward you more than the $70 for Returnal. And while we're talking about it though, Returnal almost always leaves you feeling underpowered and outnumbered. And some good RNG and reload timing skills can help, but that's also sort of the point of the game, is for you to struggle. I think one of the reasons that the more asinine elements of the difficulty in games conversation use Returnal as an example is not because the game is actually hard. It's not. But because the power fantasy never builds despite you getting better weapons with better traits and more skills. Hades is another roguelike, where the progression is much slower than Risk of Rain 2, but offers new and exciting different takes on each run. Returnal falls short here, and part of the reason it struggles is because the various elements that change each run can often punish you more than they help you, and then it sort of buckles under its own weight. As you slog back through the same 15 rooms with mostly similar enemies to hopefully find some items that are not malignant, the repetition becomes sour, and rather than creating a new experience, it forces you to do the same thing. Hopefully, you get a chance to play both. Good luck with that PS5 hunt. And by the time you get one, maybe the price of Returnal will have dropped to a more reasonable $39.99.